Internet, and welcome. My name is Tori Peters. I am a teen entrepreneur and author of the book The Power of Words for Teens. So today we're talking about third wheeling, or being the only person who's single in your friend group. I personally sort of have this no third wheeling policy, so like if I were to be in a situation where I'm the third wheel, most of the time I just sort of leave. Um, and deal with that by just sort of removing myself from the situation, because I really don't like being the third wheel and I don't like hanging out with couples. It's annoying and awkward. It just makes me feel awkward, so I just remove myself from the situation most of the time. Because if I'm being honest, being the third wheel sucks. Like, it's awkward and annoying, and like generally you just try not to look at the couple, because you don't want to know sometimes, yeah, I didn't really date in high school much. I dated like one guy my senior year, for about 6 months, and other than that, I really haven't dated, but I did watch my friends date, and a lot of my close friends group dated, and I can honestly say it was kind of frustrating. I got a little jealous, especially of my best friend. Now, I wasn't jealous of the guy. I wasn't attracted to the guy at all. But I was jealous that he got all my BFF's attention. But, that's his own issue right there. It's even more frustrating when all your friends are dating each other, because they do things like go on double dates and things you don't get invited to. And you don't necessarily want to be the third wheel or be the fifth wheel, depending on how many people there are, but you also don't like being left out. And not dating in high school really made it so a few times, I got left out of hanging out with my friends because, I didn't have a date. Me not dating in high school sucked, but now, if I'm being honest, I'm really glad I didn't. Now, I've grown up with a family and a youth group that taught me that the purpose of dating or courting should be to find the person you want to marry. So, if you do choose to date, you have to have God as the center of your relationship. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, period. God is the center. So, I've really taken that to heart. Like, then that is a extremely strong belief of mine. Like, I don't want to date unless I'm like finding out whether or not, like, hey, could this person like be the person I want to marry. Like, that's not really that surprising to me. Like, I understand that like that can scare people away, I guess, but in that case, like, you probably don't want them to begin with. We're just gonna point that one out right there. It just seems useless to date if you're not looking for that. Like, so, and if you're not ready to get married, then why are you dating? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me either. So, but going back to our topic, I have been the third wheel in my friend group for probably the longest out of all my friends. But here's a secret. It was my choice. I didn't have to be single. I had options. I could have gone out and gotten a boyfriend anytime I wanted. But I didn't want that. I didn't see the point in having a relationship if I wasn't ready to be married, and I knew I wasn't ready, and I'm still not. The problem with being the third wheel is that, it makes you feel lonely. You feel left out, and trust me, I know how it is. You realize it's stupid, but it makes you just want to go out and date anyone. Just go find a guy and, or find a girl and just be included in, the double dates or the the hanging out. But it doesn't make sense. Doing that just doesn't make sense. Yes, it might be fun, but it also opens you up to a lot of heartbreak and a lot of situations and temptation that you really just shouldn't put yourself in. And personally, I don't want to put myself in those situations. It's stupid, and it doesn't, but just because it's stupid and you know that, like, that's not a smart thing, doesn't make it any less of a desire. Now, I don't have a solution for being the third wheel, or the third wheel problem, as we're going to call it here, but I can share what encourages me when I feel lonely and frustrated about this subject. The first one is you're not alone. I promise you, as much as it feels like you are the only person without a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a date or not married or whatever, like, depending on how old you are, like, you're not alone, and it's not true. Even though sometimes it feels that way. Like, it's just a lie you're telling yourself in this situation. Um, and, you know, it's only for a season. These only last temporarily. Number two is it's good to be picky about this. Look, you shouldn't just go out with anyone who asks you out or shows the tiniest amount of interest in you. It's so much better to have standards. And everybody knows the old saying, good things come to those who wait, and the right person will come along in God's time. So, until then, focus on God and your relationship with God. Like, it only makes sense to be the best person you can be. Like, as far as relationships go, they're not 50-50. You're not half a person and he's not half a person, or you're not half a person and she's not half a person, and it makes you whole and complete. Like, no, that's not how relationships work. I've been told multiple times, and just in my small experience, like, a relationship is 100% and 100%. And I know that's how marriage has to be. Like, if you're not both putting in 100%, it's not going to work. And you're going to have issues, and then you're going to wonder why you have issues, because, well, I'm just putting in my 50% and they're not doing enough, or whatever. Like, that doesn't make sense. But it's really good to be picky. Right now, there are, I believe the marriage statistics are about 50% of marriages end in divorce, and you don't want that. Now, granted, some of it is a little polluted, because a lot of it is people who have already been divorced and getting married and then divorcing again, but it's still not good statistics. And so wouldn't it make more sense to really be sure about, like, who you're dating and who you're marrying, and be really intentional about that? Because otherwise, yeah, it might be fun, but you're gonna have a lot of regrets and baggage when it comes to actually being in the relationship, you know, that God has for you, and then you have to carry that around for the rest of your life, and it's gonna suck. Like, it's not gonna be good. And so you really want to be intentional about, like, who you open your heart up to, and, like, what you do while you're in a relationship. And three, look, in Genesis, God says that man isn't meant to be alone. And if that's something you want, God will make it happen. But you have to follow Him. You have to trust Him. You have to make Him the center of your life, of your relationships, or else you'll be trying to force the door closed with your foot stuck in it, and you'll only be hurting yourself. In Psalms 37:4, it says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." I understand it's not easy being single, and if I've learned anything, it's that life is definitely easier when you're the only person you have to worry about, and you really only have to worry about you and your walk with God. People always say, oh, it's a blessing to be single, like, you know, oh, yeah, just enjoy being single while you can, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I didn't really actually believe them, and sometimes I still don't. But if I look at everything that I've learned from just, like, the relationship that I have had, and just my life in general, like, I've honestly learned to agree with what they say. And now, granted, there are times where I'm just like, ugh, being single is terrible, like, all this stuff, you know, like, oh, I just want someone there, blah, blah, blah. Like, everyone feels that way. Like, you're not the only one feeling that way, for sure. And it's also one of those things where, you know, it's true though. You don't have to worry about, oh, making time to like see someone, or making time to uh, go out and like say having money, for a date or whatever. Like, um, you don't really have to worry about any of that stuff. You don't have to worry about like, oh, did I give this person enough attention this week or whatever. Like, or today have I said like hello. Like, it's nice to have a good morning and good night text or whatever, but it also adds complications, and having a relationship, especially in high school, adds extra temptation that you really don't want to have, especially if like you're not ready to be married. Like, that's the reason to date. So why are you dating if you don't think it's going, like, if that's not the reason you're dating? Like, yeah, I get it. It's fun. You're not wrong. But it also adds a lot of extra baggage that you really wouldn't have needed. And honestly, I'm really glad I didn't date in high school, because had I started dating earlier, I might have had a lot more regrets. And I really don't have regrets from the relationship that I did have, because I was so careful and because I was so set on at least trying to make God the center of our relationship. Now, did it necessarily work out how I wanted it to? No, not necessarily. Like, we're not still dating, which is, it's honestly good. It's better for both of us, I'm sure, that we aren't dating. So, but at the same time, like, you're not the only one. You're not the only one feeling lonely. Like, and being the third wheel can really suck. And although one extra solution that I do have is that if you continuously feel like this, go find some new friends. Go find some friends who are single. Like, go hang out with one of your friends that you don't necessarily hang out with all the time. But if I'm being honest here, I actually agree with the idea that being single is a blessing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little talk. I hope this made sense to you. If you have any questions about it, leave them in the comments. I'd love to talk to you about this if you have. Yes, this is something that I feel pretty strongly about, and I was just on YouTube yesterday and I was watching some videos, and this came up in those videos sort of led to the idea to do this today. And so I hope this was, I guess, enlightening. I just wanted to share like my mindset as far as like dating goes, and I felt like I needed to do that today. So yes, if you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any. I'm doing videos every day for 80 days, so things have been a little complicated here at home just because like it does mess with the internet a lot, but I'm trying to figure out how to like fix that a little bit. So yes, that is a thing. Yeah, hit subscribe so you don't miss any of those videos. I do a cover every Sunday, and I do homeschool videos on Thursdays, and it looks like on Mondays are going to be my book day / fangirl, fandom, whatever videos there. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up so that I know as well. And so until next time, guys, have a great adventure today, and don't let your lights go out. Bye, guys.